Yeah. All right. Welcome to the Brad Haider podcast. Got a lot to talk about this week. A lot of action going on the gridiron, a little baseball, and then the debut of our new segment here on the show. Frankly speaking, let's take a little roll call here.
That's right.
Let's take a little roll call here to start the show. We got sitting in today Joe Pascal, Frankie Devine,
Howdy.
Gib Mason,
Glad to be here.
and Matt Hardwick.
Hey.
All right, well let's dive in here. So college football, a couple big games this weekend after kind of last week's cupcake lineup. Let's start with the big one going down in Athens this Saturday. UGA and LSU, number 6 versus number 9. Joe, you want to start off? Give us your initial thoughts on the matchup.
Yeah, well, big matchup, top 10 SEC teams, SEC's powerhouse conference for the past 5 years. These are two teams that are, up there, going to be fighting for. This could essentially help make or break Georgia in getting to the championship, because a loss here, puts them at a conference loss. Kind of screw them a little bit. Just initial thoughts of the game. I like LSU.
Okay.
Straight up, Zach Mettenberger. Last couple of years, he hadn't played up to his height, but he's actually playing like a good SEC Division I quarterback, and I think he's too much to handle. And Georgia's had rough. They played bad against Clemson. They almost lost to North Texas last week. Their special teams were horrible. I just like LSU in this game.
I agree with that. I think if you just look Cam Cameron versus Mike Bobo, it's not even fair. LSU has a huge advantage there. If you feed Gurley, Georgia's in the game, but they just haven't been doing it.
Yeah, LSU.
You just don't throw the ball with Murray as much. They try to rely on Murray too much, and he's a good quarterback, but feed Gurley and feed Marshall. Those are your workhorses. Yeah, let him eat.
Yeah.
Feed me.
We eating.
Yeah, definitely. LSU's run game kind of woke up last week. Jeremy Hill.
Yeah, especially with him coming back. Dude, I think they're going to be really, really good.
If Todd Gurley gets 20 to 25 carries or more, so 20 or more carries, Georgia wins this game.
Should Georgia almost take the?
I can see that.
I don't think it's happened there.
He's going to get 20 touches. I just don't know if
20
that's enough.
carries plus whatever he gets in the pass game.
All right, so you say withdraw 24 carries or over. You're taking Georgia.
Yes.
I think they have.
24 touches.
I think they have to split it between him and Marshall. I don't think Gurley.
Marshall's going to get his touches, but I think they need to run their offense through those two.
So you guys are saying?
I agree.
Even if it's in the swing game or anything.
I completely
like that,
agree. I think they need to get them involved. I think they throw the ball way too much with Murray. I completely agree. I just don't know.
Yeah.
You just don't. I think you just need to even it up more so with.
Especially they lost
Gurley
their second best receiver for the year with a torn ACL against Clemson.
Yeah.
So Charlotte, all right, let's put it at 35 touches between Gurley and Marshall. You think that's enough?
Carries?
Gurley showed up in the big game.
Honestly, I don't think that's enough.
No, for those two, I don't think it is.
So you're saying Georgia should almost take the approach of, let's keep our offense on the field and keep their offense on the sideline.
Yeah.
At this point, the way Mettenberger's been playing this season, yes. Honestly.
He's striping it.
That's
and as your workhorses, I don't like Aaron Murray. I like Gurley and Marshall a lot. I think he's
because he has red hair, Joe.
Murray does not have red hair.
He just keep his head on
It's
straight.
black.
Yeah, it's
jet black.
I just think Gurley's that good.
Finish.
I just think Gurley's that good that if he gets that many touches, they're going to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
he's a 230-pound running back.
Let's move on to another SEC matchup. Number 25, Ole Miss, visiting number 1.
They're 21.
21.
21 now.
All right.
21
Sorry about that, Ole
Learn
Miss.
to count, Bradley.
Visiting number 1, Alabama, an SEC West matchup. Ole Miss kind of surprisingly they're 3-0 still, right? Or did they lose a game?
That's 3-0.
Yeah. So obviously going into Tuscaloosa is never an easy task, but Ole Miss has definitely been one of the surprise teams this year.
Yeah, and also the fact Alabama hasn't looked like the Alabama in the past couple of years. They struggled.
They can't run the ball.
They struggled in the opener against Virginia Tech, a terrible, terrible Virginia Tech team that should have lost to Marshall. You just can't do that. They just haven't looked as good. You never know. They have a good offense. First game, defense won it. Second game, they had no defense. Offense won it against A&M. So it's one of those things. You just don't know what you're going to get from this Alabama team this year. If they can put it all together, they're going to be good. But I just don't see that happening. And also the fact that Nick Saban made this point, and I kind of disagree with him. He said that A&M's offense and Ole Miss's offense are completely different. which I understand what he's saying because, Bo Wallace is no Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
At all.
But they still run a lot of motions, a lot of speed, try to get you, speed on the edge, try to get you moving before the snap of the
And
ball.
it worked.
Try to confuse you. And they're doing pretty good with it this year. So I think it's something that, they might struggle with, but never underestimate Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. I think Alabama's going to win it, but I think it's going to be a closer game than if you asked me, over the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
So it's going to definitely be interesting to see. You don't want to look too far ahead, but the Alabama LSU game, that honestly has a realistic chance to
When is
be
that game?
probably later, like maybe November. But the last couple of years, that's been kind of the game. But this year, it appears though as Alabama is not the invincible force that they have been. So that could definitely be the realistic, de facto championship game for the SEC West.
As long as both those
the winner
teams
gets to Atlanta.
As long as both those teams make it through this week.
Yeah, and then you can never count Texas A&M out, and even,
It should equal some upsets. if Ole Miss could upset,
Yeah.
If Georgia beats LSU,
well, they're in the East.
I just don't
yeah.
think
they're going to be in the
Miss
championship
matches up
game.
against A&M as well. Ole Miss, even if Ole Miss were to beat Alabama, I hope they do. I don't think it's going to happen. But Ole Miss, Alabama, they still have to have an answer for Johnny Football. Saban has been looking. He had that game scheduled on his calendar for the past year. Ole Miss has been looking at how do we compete each week. Johnny Football, for as much as he's a dick and the ultimate villain in college football, which I love, that's just still a huge problem for them.
Yeah, there's different things you can do with them. I'm not going to get into the details about it, but Alabama stayed true to their defense, and you kind of have to change it up a little bit and run something a little special to keep attacking Johnny Football. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how people game plan against that. That's later on down the road, though.
And the Alabama LSU game is going to be November 9th.
Okay, so first.
So both these teams make it through right here. They got chances that could be for the SEC West and possibly the national championship.
Yeah, because obviously Bama already beat Texas A&M, so then them and LSU are still undefeated in SEC play at the moment. But LSU still has to host A&M, so it could almost turn out to be a situation like in the Big 12 a couple of years ago, where Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Texas all had one loss, and it was all kind of against each other, and then it came down to a tiebreaker, and that sent Oklahoma to the Big 12 championship game. All right, so let's head up north here. We got OSU and Wisconsin Saturday night.
Big Ten.
The big question surrounding this game is who's going to be under center for the Buckeyes. Braxton Miller went down with injury. Kenny Geaton stepped in, and
Braxton.
it's kind of torn it up. And there's been somewhat whispers, I don't know how serious they are, about him being in the Heisman race after throwing 6 touchdowns. Granted, it was Florida A&M last week, but still, you throw 6 touchdowns, you throw 6 touchdowns. So let's go around. Who would you start at quarterback for Ohio State, and why?
I don't think there's a question. You give Geaton the rock. He's hot. They struggle with Braxton Miller under center against Buffalo. Okay, Buffalo is not a legitimate team. Yes, they're D1, but I don't care who you put in Buffalo. Even the Bills are loosely defined as a legit team.
Shots fired.
Who has Geaton played?
Who has Braxton played?
Braxton
all
was
last
all
year.
last year.
All last
I
year.
don't think
Amazing.
he's the guy, though. He has not led the offense that well. If you put him in, that's fine.
What he played
But
one
I
game.
think ride the hot hand. You haven't
Two.
He
lost.
played 2 games and got
They
hurt.
haven't lost yet in the past year in 3 games.
Yeah.
But
Braxton
they
Miller playing 12 of those games.
There were games last year where it looked like this offense is very inefficient. Ohio State has always, their bread and butter has always been their defense and the running game. Braxton Miller.
But that's
Braxton
with a
Miller is not
completely-
Troy
this is a
Smith.
completely different coach.
He has the potential to be. If we're looking, who's got the upside to be the best offense in the country? Give me Braxton Miller. But if right now who gets the best chance to win, I'm taking Kenny.
I'm taking the upside. You just said it. If you have the upside to be the best offense in the country, why not give the guy the reps to get it there?
Because I don't think he's going to be that guy.
Now, Joe, you have some pretty strong thoughts on
Joseph?
this.
Yeah. My thoughts, all right,
Uh,
it's complicated, but I say just straight up, you got to start Geaton for a couple of reasons. Geaton is the hot hand right now. He's playing incredible. I also, for the fact that I think the way his style of play, he uses run as a necessary option. He throws the ball a little bit better than Braxton. He doesn't run the ball as well, but throws it a little bit better. Braxton Miller, I feel like, has a tendency to just run just for the sake that he wants to run the ball. And also for the fact that you start getting in this game because you can sell to Braxton Miller a little bit rather than the other way around. You start Braxton Miller, you're telling Geaton, hey, you've been killing it the past couple games, but you got to sit because Braxton Miller's our starter no matter what. Other way around, you start Geaton, you can tell Braxton Miller, hey, you're still hurt a little bit. We're just going to rest you.
You want to sit the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year last year.
He's hurt right now, and Geaton's the hot hand. I'm saying you don't bench him.
He hasn't lost since that.
I'm saying for this game right here. I'm not saying for the season. I'm saying for this game, you start Geaton, and you can sell to Braxton Miller for the fact to say, hey, you're hurt, but if Geaton struggles, we want you to come in and play. If we don't have to use you, we want to rest you for later on down the season when you need you in other Big Ten games.
And in fairness,
I can see that.
I'm not saying for the season
I understand
that you want to start Geaton for the entire season. I'm saying for this game in particular, I feel like it's easier to sell Braxton on it and still keep his, mood high or his
You're not hurting his
morale
ego.
high.
Yeah.
But if you sit Geaton, I feel like he just kind of sulks. So if Braxton goes down again, I think Geaton's not going to be the same.
And also, let's look at the Big Ten last year. Outside of Monty Ball, who could you legitimately say is another dynamic offensive player?
No one. The Big Ten's terrible.
All right. So
The defense rests.
So we have Gib and Matt. They're saying start Braxton Miller, and then Joe and Frankie are saying start
I'm saying
Geaton.
for this game,
You can't just moderate, Brad. What are your thoughts?
I say for this game, you start Geaton.
See, I'm thinking.
Brad's the decider right here.
I see
Yeah.
where Joe's coming
Brad's
from.
the.
See, I'm thinking.
It makes
I understand both sides, but I think you start Geaton for the reason if you go into the game starting Geaton and Geaton struggles, it's a lot different benching the backup and bringing in the normal starter than it is benching the normal starter and bringing in the backup.
Yeah,
Do
but if
you
he comes
honestly
back-
think you're going to bench the normal?
But if Braxton Miller comes back and he struggles, you can easily go back to Geaton or whatever the hell his name is.
But if Geaton, I mean, obviously Braxton Miller went into the year as the clear-cut starter. There wasn't even a competition
I'd say
in
if
camp.
This is like the Cap Alex Smith thing. This is what
I
you're
still
thinking
say
not happening
if
much.
Braxton Miller is not 100%, I say you rest him. If you don't need him, don't play him. But if Geaton struggles, put him in the game and let him play.
Yeah.
I think that's like the smart thing to do. Geaton's the hot hand right now. Braxton's coming off injury. You let Geaton play. If he struggles, you put Braxton.
You can't really feel sorry for Ohio State, though. It's kind of like,
I hate Ohio
which
State.
good player
I
do we
do
have?
hate Ohio
I
State.
hope they forget to dot the I for the rest of their home games. They're a bunch of dicks. It's an ugly campus, bunch of
It
concrete.
is.
Let's preface
Two
the
on the
statement
dick
with
count.
Frankie has a clear bias against Ohio State.
I wouldn't call it clear.
Very biased.
I am very fair. Okay,
Ohio State
but
just sucks.
Kirk Herbstreit's my favorite football commentator,
Herbert.
and he's from Ohio State. Do I hold
But
it
that
against
doesn't
him?
mean you
And
like
Eddie
Ohio
George.
State. That does not mean you like
Eddie
Ohio
George.
State necessarily.
Heisman from Ohio State, favorite football player of all time.
Okay.
Do I wish I would have known that before he became my favorite player? Yes. Same time. Ohio State, they're okay in my book. I don't have anything against them.
Okay, so let's move on to another
They suck.
top 25 matchup. Kind of
The most unattractive
Yeah.
top 25.
barely a
on
top
paper.
25 matchup, but it's top 25 teams against one another. Oklahoma and Notre Dame.
Boo.
Notre Dame kind of
Let's not
dominated
vote on it.
Oklahoma last year. Both teams with new starting quarterbacks from last year.
Oklahoma's at fault.
Yeah, I think
We don't really care about this game, so let's move on. Just to let people know it exists. All right.
Everyone just take your pick.
Oklahoma.
I
Notre Dame has no. Notre Dame has no
I
offense.
choose neither.
Notre
I
Dame
hope
has
for a
no
scoreless tie.
This is
How about that?
This is the game where you root for the spread.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Boomer Sooner because Tommy Rees is still under center.
offense. Notre Dame's offense is terrible. The Notre Dame Michigan State game, I didn't watch it because it was just fucking the worst offense I've ever seen in my life.
It was kind of ugly.
All right, so let's go around the horn here and give me one team you're watching this week. You know, they might not have a tough opponent,
College
but
football.
yeah, in college football, one team that you kind of want to take notice on this week and say, I want to see what they want to do.
Start us off.
I'm going to go with Miami.
Duke.
Would.
Traveling
Would.
up to USF. I mean, they beat Florida 2 weeks ago, and then they kind of had the Patsy game this week against Savannah State and beat them 70-7 or whatever. You know, can they keep up their strong play and kind of the energy that was created by the victory over their in-state rival, the Florida Gators, and continue the march and towards the ACC championship game? The first year, or they're awaiting their sanctions from the NCAA, but they're eligible for postseason play after coming off their self-imposed ban. So if they can go up to USF, where that's kind of a sneaky, little bit of a rivalry game because a lot of guys on both teams played against each other in high school or on the same high school teams. Granted, it's not on the same level as when Miami plays Florida or Florida State, but it's still an in-state team, and it's a road game, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can go up to Tampa and come out with a victory and keep on rolling.
Yeah, a team that I'm going to watch this week for a couple reasons is Arkansas.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They
have A&M, right?
Yeah, A&M is traveling to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas. It's Brett Bielema's first taste of the SEC as the head coach of Arkansas. I think either Arkansas lost to Rutgers last week. I mean,
Yeah. Chop.
I think it could potentially be a game. Fayetteville's a hard place to play. And it's Bielema's first SEC game. You know he's going to want to get the win to start it off right after talking a bunch of junk coming in. So, I'm going to watch Arkansas and see how they handle Johnny football.
So that was the game I had circled. But another game I'm kind of interested in is Stanford, Washington State. You know, Mike Leach has had the offense before at Texas Tech. Stanford's kind of a ground and pound team. I'm interested to see what they do defensively to kind of stop that. I mean, they shut USC down. Granted, USC was going through young quarterbacks, didn't really know what was going on. But I think that game's going to be a lot closer. Washington State, I think, is getting 40, or they're getting 8.5. I think Stanford will probably.
That seems low.
I think they'll ultimately wind up covering the spread.
It's
at Washington State. Well, I think they're
Fair
playing. It's in Seattle, so it's technically not Washington State.
It's close enough.
But it's still technically going to
In
be
the
a
state
home
of
game
Washington.
for Washington State. Cougar fans travel, so we'll give them that. But for me, over under set at 47.5. I like the over. I think Mike Leach is finally going to figure the offense out.
Okay.
I'm still looking. Hold up.
While they trying to.
Oh,
man.
Cal Oregon. That's the game I'm watching this week because Cal always tries to slow down that Oregon offense, faking injuries, doing whatever they gotta do.
I like Georgia.
Yeah.
Why?
So,
Georgia, why?
I didn't even see that game. Yeah, that's the game I'm looking for. See how Oregon can handle Cal trying to slow down that offense. It's always a good time.
Over under 2.5. DeAnthony Thomas touchdowns.
I don't know.
I'd take the over on that.
I'm going to take the under.
Under?
It's like it's 2.
That's fair. I could see.
Yeah, I'd see him getting 2. They got.
I think that
some
game.
weapons.
Yeah, I think that game could get ugly.
Is that
early
game
to the
in
point where
Austin,
they
or-
shut 'em
It's
down.
in Oregon. It's in Eugene.
Yeah,
Okay.
Austin Stadium.
Oh yeah. What's the spread? Do you have the spread on there?
I don't.
I think
I got that.
I think Oregon's at least
like-
a 2
it's
touchdown
a lot.
favorite.
Oregon minus
Gotta
36.
be. Yeah,
Wow, I
honestly.
still like them to cover.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Who, Oregon or Cal?
always-
I like Oregon
I
cover.
like Cal
Yeah,
and
I
that
mean,
spread.
Or could you? All right. Speaking of Oregon, could a legitimate case be made that Oregon should be the number 1 team in the country
I think
right
so.
now?
Yes, the way they've been humming along, dude. It's like Chip Kelly didn't even leave.
And the SEC, as much as people like to argue the depth, I'm not sure it's there. I think LSU, absolutely. Alabama, still there. Am I sure they're the number 1 team in the country? No.
Alabama played
Ole Miss is back. I think they should be higher than 21. But for the most part, you look at all the other teams that people argue, well, they're not ranked, but they would kill other teams. Arkansas just lost to Rutgers, which is a bad All-American conference.
And that Tennessee and Florida game last week,
ugly.
that was like Pop
Ugly.
Warner.
Miami beat Florida. Miami played poorly. They still won the game.
They got outgained by like 3 times.
They still won the game.
That's true.
Yeah.
Scoreboard, baby.
That's true.
So my prediction,
Yeah.
I'm getting crazy. I think UCF is going to beat South Carolina.
Whoa.
I
All
think
right,
it's gonna
nice.
happen.
UCF went up to Penn State last week.
I don't know,
and
man. They
came
beat,
out of Happy Valley.
they beat Penn State. They're 3-0. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for USC. I don't know.
Yeah,
And it's at
Oh,
UCF.
yeah,
It's
that's
at home,
true.
dude. I don't know.
He's a good
They
coach,
get
man.
wild down there for them.
I like
He's
it.
a
All right.
very, very good
Good
coach.
luck, kid.
Well
I don't know.
done.
Hey,
Good
it's
look.
I
a
just
battle. It's
feeling
a battle of 2 like
Yeah.
incredible old school coaches. It's Spurrier versus O'Leary.
What's that?
It's gonna be a battle.
NFL. All right, so that about wraps it up for the college football talk here.
Huzzah.
Let's let's move on to the NFL. A lot of good games last week, some not so much. But let's take a look at the docket for this week. Some marquee matchups here. A lot of inter-conference games. We got New England at Atlanta. We got Philadelphia going into Denver. We got Dallas out in San Diego. Seattle visiting Houston. All right, let's go around the horn here. What game are you looking forward to watching this week?
I mean, I think there's a couple good games on the slate. Obviously, Thursday night, San Fran, St. Louis is going to be close. Jeff Fisher's a great coach. Cap's been struggling. Obviously, you want to see Miami, New Orleans, just because it's got the potential.
Yeah,
New England, Atlanta will be solid. But for me, the game I'm circling, bit homery. I want to see New York Jets, Tennessee, because they're both teams coming into the season. People were thinking, I don't know. I don't think either of these teams are playoff teams. They both surprised some people. Their defense has played a lot better than people expected. Both have young quarterbacks. Locker last week played very well. I think that game could turn ultimately who contends for a wild card and who just has their season start to drop off.
Really wild.
Tennessee's at home.
Jets, potentially.
I honestly believe it. I think Miami's a good team. New England's a good team, but at the same time, could I see the Jets taking one of the two games against either? I mean, the Jets lost one of them, but they weren't out of that game.
No.
That was a close game.
They play. I could easily see them stealing one against New England later in the season or taking one from Miami. And the Bills are still the Bills, so they could easily take two there. I could see the Jets contending for the playoffs. That defense is the real deal. They already took a close one against Tampa Bay, so that's the difference between a lot of 6-10 teams and a 9-7 team. How do you fare in close games? You get a call here, you get a call there. I think the Jets could be a playoff team. Same with the Titans. I think that game could, I could swing both their season.
Yeah.
Either of them. I think it's a big game for both of them. And it's weird for Tennessee to play at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They usually get that noon start in Tennessee. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna take it down to the Big Easy on the Monday night game. Miami visiting New Orleans. Battle of the 3-0 teams. New Orleans, with Sean Payton back. They blew out Arizona last week. Miami got the big victory, helping out the Saints, beating the Falcons last week. Ryan Tannehill was really
Tanny swag.
come along, and he's kind of like the odd man out in that whole quarterback class from the last 2 years.
He's still progressing now. He's doing fine.
Surprised to everyone. I didn't see it come. I'll be honest. I was like, that's a terrible
that
pick.
pick was
Second.
second.
For the Dolphins to be 3-0 right now with Tannehill playing the way he's playing.
One factor though is Cam Wake is probably going to miss the game for the Dolphins, and
That's
that
big.
could be trouble. Trying to get pressure on Drew Brees.
I don't know. They still got pretty formidable front, and Ellerby leading that linebacker.
Ellerby.
too.
They just need to get them some
He's
of those
great.
Seattle
I
Royals.
miss
They
him,
love
man.
the
I
Squawks,
miss-
but they're definitely rooted out.
That's my game I'm looking out for this weekend. Is the Squawks in Houston
Indeed.
playing the Texans, looking for a bounce back game after that shellacking in Baltimore.
That Texans just did not.
I don't think they got it, dude. I don't think they're good.
I honestly can see Seattle just going in there.
They're
and
better
bouncing them.
defense than the. They can get pressure, dude, and the Ravens got pressure. They have a better secondary.
I don't think the Texans. Nuke is a great asset, helps Andre
Oh,
Johnson
yeah.
out, but their defense last year.
Andre was hurt.
Andre
Dude,
Johnson
he was
might not
hurt in the
even play
whole
this week.
game.
Yeah, Andre Johnson's hurting. Like Nuke can replace a bit of that, but at the same time, their
He's
running
still
game's
young,
not
man.
really there. The offensive line struggling. They've got so many good players from the past years where they've been against the salary cap. We got to let people walk. They brought Ed Reed in, but Ed Reed is a shell of his former self.
Oh yeah,
He's
he had like
enormous,
2
man.
tackles.
Right now, he's a
Shit.
solid, about league average safety. He can make some plays, but by no means is he the game changer that he once was. And that's kind of why I think the Titans have a chance at the playoffs here. You look, Indianapolis is
Yeah.
not that good anymore. Andrew Luck's still a real deal, but
They
they're
got
not.
that two-headed running game now, though.
They got
Yeah,
lucky
that's
last year.
mean.
Okay, if you want to buy
They're
in,
8-0 in the Chuck Pagano era when they run the ball 30 times or more.
if you want to buy in,
That's a
Big
beautiful
number.
Big
That's
stat.
a
Huge
beautiful
stat.
stat. dude.
If
That's
you
a
want-
They got
beautiful
Trent Richardson
stat.
now.
If you want-
First carry,
Jimmy Bradshaw cycled
He
them
can
to the
pound
ground,
and he
dude.
can speed.
if
dude.
you want to buy in on
Bodies
Trent
just shit.
Richardson, fine. I am not.
I
buying it.
will take Trent Richardson at 15 to 20 carries a game, give Bradshaw the other half. That could be
That's
a
pretty
monstrous
dangerous.
attack.
Gosh,
Andrew Luck's
Hilton,
been out.
dude. T.Y. Hilton is
T.Y.
going to
Hilton,
have
Reggie
an
Wayne is
amazing year.
still chugging along.
Yeah.
Andrew
But
Luck's
also
a
here,
little
I think
bit
Tight
the
end,
Titans-
tight end game.
Kobe Fleener.
Mean.
I think the Titans take one game of that each against Colts and the Texans, and then they should have beaten the Texans.
He's
in
throwing
their
with
first
4
game.
great pairs of
And
hands.
Jaguars. Jaguars are terrible. That's 2 lockdown
So,
victories.
yeah.
If they lose it, they should sell the team, move them to Canada or London. I don't care at this point. Those should be wins. So you look at the division. Before, that was their downfall. They weren't beating Houston. Indianapolis was always causing problems. Jacksonville was a toss-up. Hopefully you take 2. But this year, this is the year they look poised to make a run. And then I don't think anyone saw it coming. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
So the game I'm watching, on paper, record-wise, does not look like the most attractive thing. But the 0-3 New York Giants put it at Arrowhead Stadium, take on the Andy Reid-led 3-0 Kansas City Chiefs. If you told me before the season that this game would be 0-3, 3-0, with the Chiefs being the 3-0 team, and the Giants being 0-3, I'd be like, you're crazy, dude. There's no way. But Andy Reid is doing something special in Kansas City. I mean, it proves that, it wasn't his fault necessarily in Philadelphia, especially with them struggling right now. He's a hell of a coach. He's doing great things right there. Also looking like Santa Claus in that red.
Yeah.
I might add.
And on that barbecue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gosh, seem more like Santa Claus. And then the Giants, man, just 0-3, getting spanked last week.
Oh, I love every second of it.
Grantland's bad quarterback rankings.
Oh,
Eli is
ripping it up.
dominating.
Yeah, dude. So it's just, this is just
It's like
shocking.
Christmas in September.
For Cowboys fans like Brad.
I just want to see, this game, just see if Chiefs can keep it up, head where they're going, and see if the Giants can finally stop this train wreck of a team that they had. I mean, they had an all-players meeting the day, on Monday of this week, so obviously things are just bad there, and let's see if they can just, make something of the season that's just going down to 2 right now.
See if they can make something for the NFC East, because that also, I think, Eagles-Denver will be interesting. The Eagles' offense can score. It's just a matter of, can their defense actually compete? They looked great in the first half against Washington and bringing pressure, but I think a lot of that was Washington just slipping up.
They're 12-point dogs in Denver.
Oh, I like Denver to cover, because I think they can score. I don't believe in Michael Vick. He has all the potential in the world. I just don't think he fully gets
That
it.
Denver offense is humming along.
They're humming. Let's be real.
Humming's an understatement.
Peyton Manning versus Nate Allen. I'll take Peyton.
Like,
please.
Peyton knows what the defense
Peyton
is
left-handed.
doing when he steps up to
Yeah.
the line of scrimmage.
Like, if Peyton wants to pooch punt it downfield all the time, just hope the Eagles fumble, I still like the Broncos.
All right, now we just talked about, obviously, the Giants in KC and Philadelphia in Denver. Kind of a rare occurrence this week. We have a total... All right, Gib, let's get you in here. Then I'll go back on those.
Jeez, man. All right. I was looking.
It was on topic.
I don't know. I was looking forward to
Going around the table, Brad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
Well,
I was
it
looking
was-
forward to Dallas and San Diego.
Okay, I can talk. this.
Because I think San Diego, Phillip Rivers, I think he could just get hot. And I think this is a big game for Dallas. I think they need to win this
Dude,
game.
every game's a big game for them.
I know, but I think it's going to be an interesting game. You got two quarterbacks that could get really hot, and you could see a lot of scoring, dude. Eddie Royal.
Philip Rivers is really
I wish I
working
had
back
that
for his
man.
offense.
Eddie Royal, I thought about picking that guy up. I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna bring this up because it still hurts me. I came so close to picking him up after week 1 in fantasy and starting him, and I didn't, and I'm ashamed.
For like another
I'm ashamed.
27.
But how much of a dick would you have felt like if you actively went into week 2? Yeah, I'm starting at a Royal wide receiver. Damn, man, how bad was
That's
your draft?
actually that's a good point.
Like if I start Antonio Brown over Randall Cobb last week, like I'd feel great this morning, but I'd be like, how drunk did I get on Saturday night?
All right, I can appreciate that.
And then going back to what I was saying before I rudely interrupted Gib.
Yes.
Kind of a rare occurrence this week how all the teams in the NFC East are going up against all the teams in the AFC West.
Just getting out of the way.
So, which division do you think wins this weekend?
I think AFC West goes 3-1.
NFC East is the worst division in football.
NFC West.
Going into the season, NFC East looked like it could be like one of the most competitive divisions. Redskins look like they
Now they have 2
suck.
0-3 teams.
Redskins have RG3 isn't even the main problem, dude. They're just a bad football
They're bad.
team.
I think the NFC East still will ultimately be one of the most competitive divisions in football. It's just going to be first to 7 wins makes the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot lower wins.
That being said, I still think they win a playoff game. They will get a playoff win.
I honestly think
think so?
I absolutely believe that.
if the Cowboys could
I
beat
can
the
see
Chargers this week, I think the Cowboys had a legitimate chance of running away with this division.
It's possible, but at the same time, they're Cowboys, so.
Yeah, but the Eagles aren't showing me anything. The Redskins aren't showing me anything.
Number one
Giants are showing me
rule of this podcast is no anti-Dallas talk unless it's coming from
NFC
me.
East is the worst division in football.
NFC
Dallas is
East.
going to win that division at 10-6.
By week 8, they're gonna lock it up.
They're going to win it at 10-6, but they're going to win it by like 3 games.
Yeah, I like that.
If
Another interesting game is a game that's about to happen in like 20 minutes.
Agreed.
I think,
Yeah.
I don't know, San Francisco, if they were to
They're
lose this,
struggling.
that could snowball.
And the Rams
really
played
quickly.
them better than anyone
Didn't
last
they
year.
tie
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, they tied
They're-
that game.
they're-
They
They're
should've
not.
won
They're
seven.
solid. They're not amazing or anything.
I'm a big
they can
Sam
put up a
Bradford
fight.
fan. I like the Rams. I
Yeah.
don't like Fisher.
They got stomped by
In St. Louis,
Don't like
they
them.
don't have Alden Smith, man. They've had
Or
some
Patrick
internal
Willis.
troubles.
I don't, and their secondary was problematic last year. It was just the front seven was so good they covered for them. Their secondary, you can throw the ball on them, and they have struggled to run the ball. So it's a bit of a question mark there.
Yeah, Frank Gore is kind of lining down.
And
his
as
career.
bad as the NFC East is right now, the Giants have some problems. I think if Philadelphia can
Giants
have
some
the
problems.
patience to give Chip Kelly a chance, they'll own that division within 3 years.
It's
Giants?
possible. The NFL
Bird
goes
gang,
so
dude.
quickly,
Bird gang. The
like-
Giants are bad. The Redskins gave up all their picks for RG3, which is a very Dan Snydery thing to do.
All right, now there's some not so great games this week. Let me throw a couple of those out for you. So we got Arizona at Tampa Bay.
Mike Glennon
Glenn.
is the future of
Mike
NFL
Glenn.
quarterbacking.
Bring
Like
it
all
out
the time.
this week.
I think Tampa wins that by 10.
Really?
Arizona's they got a decent front seven, but they're not that good.
Then we
Andre
have
2.3 sacks, baby.
Indianapolis at Jacksonville.
Oh, it's Indianapolis.
Indianapolis all
No
the way.
question.
Jacksonville's still Jacksonville.
I will never
And
put
they're
my-
going- Blaine Gabbert has been named the starter for that game. Jacksonville will lose early. I think it's going to be done by the second quarter.
Indy's feeling good right now.
All right.
They're playing good football.
Now the NFL's going international this week. We got the game over in London.
Oh,
but,
Give me Pittsburgh.
unfortunately,
I don't think I like that. I don't think I like the whole London.
it's not like one game a year, but now they're talking
I think that
crazy
just
about.
kind of sucks if you're those two teams.
Well, yeah,
Some
you get
money grab.
It's just gonna throw you off.
you get jobbed out of a home game if you're a season ticket holder.
Yeah, that's.
You get you,
I don't know. I
both
wouldn't
those
like
teams
that.
split the revenue, and the thing is, it works out. Like if let's say you're a Tampa Bay or Jacksonville, you're not able to sell every seat out and get the money.
Yeah.
Fine, but if you're Philadelphia or Baltimore, where you're charging some of the highest ticket prices in the league, you sell it every game.
Oh
People
yeah.
are begging their friends for, hey, you're not going to this game. You selling this game to cover your ticket costs. Like I really want to
Yeah.
go to this game because my friend's a Niners fan. He'll pay out the ass for these tickets.
Yeah.
That's how you make your money. When you say we're having a home game here and here, team, we'll give you $40 pop for these seats because football's not going on this Saturday. And I mean, football, King Crimpus.
That's
That's
like-
that over in London for a big market team. Pittsburgh's one of them. You
Yeah.
can't do that to them.
That's like I talked to a family friend of mine that's a Bills season ticket holder, and I asked him if he was going to the Toronto
Bills
game.
fans are good fans.
And he said, no real Bills fans go to the game in Toronto.
don't?
Because it's like, we don't want to support this money grab thing. We're paying for the season tickets. We want to get.
They're not the Toronto Bills. They're the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Playing in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Problem is, within 5 years, they're going to be in Los Angeles. Once Ralph Wilson finally goes, I don't see Buffalo staying there. You just can't. There's no business there. Kodak left. Everyone's left. Buffalo is shrinking in numbers. You can't stay there. There's no.
Frank, you're getting economic on us.
Think about it. Most of the NFL teams, people bitch about it all the time. Sports teams, the ones that are making money, a lot of it is corporate sales.
Well, every
Selling
NFL
boxes.
team except one made money last year.
Yeah, and
Cleveland.
but you're selling revenue.
Cleveland?
Yeah.
You're selling back there because Buffalo stuff's loyal fans.
Sorry. Don't let that out.
Yeah, part of that's Cleveland just has no hope whatsoever.
Jordan Cameron, baby.
Yeah, a new hope.
Yeah. All right. All right, so let's go around the horn. I'll throw everybody 2 games, and we're gonna make some picks here using the spread. So, Joe, we'll start with you.
Don't screw me on the games this week.
We got Cincinnati -4 at Cleveland.
Oh, Bengals all day. Salty Dalty.
The Banjos.
Easy
Salty
cover
Dalty.
for the Bungles.
Yes, the Browns are terrible. The city of Cleveland sucks.
Whoa, I don't know, man.
Hey,
Joe's better
Yeah,
because
sorry.
Cleveland has the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Memphis. One. But no, the mistake.
Well,
Logan
FedEx.
Memphis.
No, I think the Bengals cover that. Just, I think just cover it.
I think it's I could see a letdown game. They were sloppy.
The
against
Brian
Green Bay.
Hoyer era is real.
Agreed.
It's a real thing,
It's my
people.
pick.
I agree. I like your pick.
Bengals win.
I like your pick.
Bengals cover.
All right,
That's what's
so
happening.
your second game is
Shut down.
the Jets +3.5 at Tennessee.
Oh, Titans all day.
Frankie, you can
baby.
get in on this too because this is your team.
Titans all day. Well, 1, because it's a homer pick. And 2, before the season, I said the Titans were going to start 3-0. They were almost there. Almost there. Lost in overtime against the Texans. I mean, they're 2-1 right now. Jake Locker looked like a competent quarterback last week. And Chris Johnson looks like he is finally starting to click and get back to himself somewhat. So if they can keep that rolling, I think the Titans can be a dangerous team, not just this game, but just going on down the road.
Yeah, fellow Titans fan, makes me nervous. I think this is finally a game where you see, is the Titans O-line legit? Because the Jets front seven is the real deal with Vander Holyfield. I like the Titans to win the game. I don't think they cover it. 3.5. I think it's going to be 1-2 point game.
All right, Frankie, another game for you here. New England plus 1.5 at Atlanta. Sunday night.
I like New England. I don't think Atlanta has struggled, yes, but it's also the curse of the NFC South, you know.
Worst
You finish first.
First to worst.
You don't necessarily have to go worst because, let's be honest, the Bucs are still in the division. So are the Panthers, but I just don't think they get it.
All right, Gib. Yep, Washington minus 3.5 at Oakland. Can Washington get their first win this week?
Not a chance. They're not covering.
Whoa. Really?
RGO.
Matt Flynn's starting for the Raiders this week.
Really?
Most likely, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Terrible
think,
Pryor.
first of all, I think you should have Pryor in there. Because I have full faith.
Pryor's concussed still. That's a problem.
Concussions are for
Damn,
girls.
really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. He took a
know
look
what?
on Monday night.
Yeah, he did actually.
He doesn't.
Wow.
He's like, I
He
don't
did get
remember
popped.
anything.
Yeah, he did
But
get
I'm sure
popped.
the Raiders played hard.
I don't think they can do it though, dude. I think Washington is a bad football team. I think RG3 is like, you can see it in his knee. He's not comfortable with it, but I don't think that means he's bad. I don't think that means he's bad.
He's afraid to get hit, right?
Yeah,
He's
it's
not there.
Just give him time, but I don't think this is going to be their week. I don't think that's a long way to Oakland, man. That's Oakland playing in Oakland. That's got to be a little weird.
And it's also
Those people they get weird out there, and I like it.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a weird place
It's
to play
also
football.
a big issue when your best offensive weapon is Pierre Garcon. Is he a solid
Yeah.
receiver?
Yeah,
Yes.
he
But
gets
that's
hurt.
your go-to guy.
Alfred Morris is the biggest weapon.
But they
But
don't
he's
go
been
back.
men.
When you're
He's been
when
men.
you're down 3 touchdowns by the end of the first half, you can't go to Alfred.
All right, Matt. Chicago plus 2.5 at Detroit.
Chicago's plus 2.5.
You sure
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Because Detroit.
Chicago's getting 2.5 at Detroit.
So I'm guessing you like Chicago.
Where can I put all my money on this?
3.
Where can I put all my money on this game?
Yeah, like
I have about 20K I can throw on this game. Let's do it. Go for it.
I'm taking Chicago in a landslide.
oh, okay.
I'll take Chicago
All
minus.
right, and then your second game here. Let's go. Seattle minus 2.5 at Houston.
Come on, give me a different game. You know who I'm going to pick.
All right, Dallas minus 1.5 at San Diego.
Loves Dallas. Now he's
They're
back.
at San Diego?
Yeah.
What time is this game at?
4 o'clock.
And then minus,
Oh,
minus
that's
2
not
now.
that big a deal.
Oh, minus 2.
Dallas is minus 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dallas is minus 2 now. The line shifted.
I feel like Dallas could lose on a field goal in this game. I feel like it's one of those
Don't
games.
say that.
That's just how I'm feeling because the way Philly Rivers is taken to Mike McCoy's offense, I could see them losing by a field goal, but I could also see them winning. So I'm gonna say
San Diego's plus 2.
Dallas.
Dallas. Okay.
So if that's your thought, you should probably hide all sharp objects before kickoff because Brad might get a little angry.
Yeah, stuff is
I don't know. I can just take Brad down.
That's true. That's true.
All right.
Strong and soft.
Let's do a little MLB real fast.
Yes.
All right,
Now we're talking.
wild card race is coming down to the wire. Who do you think winds up being the AL wild card playing game, Joe?
AL wildcard?
Yeah.
Alright, well, see, right now it's between 3 teams that are fighting for the 2 spots. It's between the Rays, the Indians, and the Rangers. I like the Rays' chances of making it just because they got Toronto.
They got Toronto the rest of the way, last 3 games, so they got a real good shot at that. The Indians are a good team. They showed me a lot this year. They have Minnesota down the stretch. Also, another bad team that they could easily take. The Rangers, are just a classic team. They have the Angels down the stretch. I think it's going to be the Rays and the Indians. And the Rays and the Indians are going to be the 2 teams that make it.
Rays and the Indians? Yeah, I agree with that. I'd like to see that. 2 small market teams. It's probably not going to be great for attendance numbers and ratings, but it's always nice to see. I mean, Cleveland's been kind of the surprise team all year. Francona coming in there, kind of rallying the troops, have a lot of walk-off wins, getting contributions from guys like Jason Giambi and whatnot. It's just fun to see. And they'd be kind of
Indians, baby.
they'd be kind of interesting to see in the playoffs. Now the NL is most likely going to be, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
It's already decided.
Okay, so Matt chime in here from Siberia.
It's already decided.
Yeah, the NL is basically set, isn't it? It's just a matter of seeding.
It is set.
It's just a matter of who gets the home field for the wild card.
Yeah,
game.
Is that and for who gets home field for CS.
throughout.
Yeah, throughout, because the Cardinals are going to play the Dodgers and the
But
Braves.
we know the teams.
Yeah, and the Braves are going to play whoever wins between the Reds and the Pirates. It's just next round who gets home field advantage after that.
Air quotes.
All right.
You want to know what I'm thankful for? Just one thing
Thanks,
relating
Nick.
to baseball.
Oh.
Manny Machado's injury
Only 6
Yeah, that
7
was
weeks.
nasty.
was disgusting.
It looked egregious.
And there's no serious damage.
His foot was going
What was the-
complete
what was
wrong
the-
way.
Diagnosis
Some
on that?
ligament,
It's he
something.
sprained it.
MCL strain.
Yeah, he didn't tear his MCL.
Oh, really?
He's out 6
Yeah.
7 weeks versus
Yeah.
it
7
looked like
weeks.
he might be done.
Like I was really like a lot of guys were tweeting like you hate to see that happen. Like they already thought like
The fear
he's
was
done.
torn ACL, MCL, maybe something else too.
I think
Yeah.
everyone's happy for.
I'm
the
glad
Bills.
though, man. 'Cause I think
Base-
those could be good in the future.
Baseball fans
Alright.
everywhere had to be happy with me. He's a hell of a player. You never want to see
He loves
somebody
it.
like that go down.
Yeah. All right, so now that wraps it up for the sports talk here on this edition of the podcast. Now we're going to kind of take it off the wall here a little bit. Debuting a new segment. We're hoping, no, we're not hoping. It's going to become a kind of every edition thing. It's called Frankly Speaking
Frankly speaking,
by Frankie Devine. What are we talking about today?
That's right. And for today, I think we can expand on this more. But recently, I watched Mighty Ducks on HBO Go. Great service. It's amazing. I don't know why every channel doesn't have it. If they had the Game Show Network Go, like,
Oh, did he be
We can do a
great
whole
at
podcast
ever?
on that, how much we love the
are you
game
telling me
show.
I wouldn't
Game
watch
Show?
Family Feud all day?
I
every
would
day?
definitely do that with you.
You're damn straight.
Invite
anyway,
me next
He only
time.
has
So-
Jeopardy on there too.
My takeaways from the film were
Which one did you watch again?
well, we watched the
The
first
original.
one, but it started making me reflect on all the films. Yeah, great. Dick Clark was an American icon.
Sorry.
But talking Mighty Ducks here, you started out. Gordon Bombay's kind of a dick. We just kind of swept it under the rug that
Strike,
hey,
strike,
I just like to drive drunk, and you know what? You should go tutor kids.
So
Go
does
drive your
Sean.
limo onto ice,
So does Sean though.
allegedly. And from there, we saw Gordon Bombay. He teaches like the kids are terrible to start. They are awful hockey players. I don't care how much you coach them up.
Those are awful kids.
They're terrible kids. They're so he gets underprivileged youth. Just for reference, Gibb is getting his flex on. Looks good. He's ready for beach weekend.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, anytime. But as it goes, you got Gordon Bombay. He's trying to coach his kids up. He realizes he hasn't had a talented team. So he tells them to take a dive. Any good coach would do the same. You want to win? You take dives. You don't have the technical skills to compete with the Hawks, okay? They're great. But then my main issue with that is like they get Adam Banks, they start to turn it up. They're playing better. And then the issue is they have no goalie play. Defense, Fulton Reed, the kid's got a big-time slap shot. He's an enforcer, but he can't skate. That's your number one defenseman? That's bullshit. I'm sorry. That's just terrible coaching. Terrible. That looks like the Flyers. We overpaid for a big enforcer defenseman.
It looks like the damn Flyers.
I love it. It reminded me of like the HBO, winter class, like 24/7 coverage. And they cover Briz. The guy's crazy as shit, hilarious, but he can't save shit. Kind of like Goldberg.
Not at all.
Goldberg, hilarious, greatest character in the film.
Definitely.
Who's the Jewish kid with the red hair and the glasses?
Terrific.
But that leads my next point.
Don't hate.
They're all
Don't
terrific.
hate on him.
Not gonna hate on him. But here's my thing: D2, US like U12 team, whatever. Everyone go through puberty.
Exactly.
But these are the best players that US has to offer, and we're taking the worst kids.
Wait,
of the
wait. Are you hating on the Mighty Ducks right now?
I know I'm
Hey,
analyzing.
it was Homer picks.
So you're analyzing in a hating sort of manner.
Not a
I don't know
hating.
if I like this.
Not a hating, just questioning. Here's my thing.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, do we
Go
remember?
on.
Do we remember the
Another
first
question.
Mighty Ducks? These kids struggled. They couldn't skate at all. They had to get Adam Banks
But
just
they
to
got
compete.
sick though. They won the championship.
In spite of some, like Charlie Conway.
spite of. They
There's a
still
lot of
won
mental
it.
errors on the other team.
A lot of men, like, yeah, I'm sorry. Also, that was my thing. It also made me think, let's think, like, how good was Bad News Bears? Terrific. But if we get...
Old or new?
Old, obviously.
The OG one.
Yeah,
The
seriously.
new one.
You don't like
What's
Billy
his
Bob
face?
Thornton?
I do.
Billy Bob
How great would it be to watch a, like, kids sports movie where we have Gordon Bombay just going full, like, Peter Laviolette, just dick mode.
Was that the
This is
correct
what- that's the-
pronunciation?
Peter Laviolette? Yeah.
You're obvious.
Peter Laviolette. Spell it out. Come on now. He's going to be assistant coach for the U.S. Olympic team. Get with the program. But anyway, so he's just chewing gum, telling the kids, "This is playoff hockey, block shots." Like, these kids are just dying. No, seriously, Mighty Ducks, these kids are taking slaps at them and just like, "Oh, I'm getting out of the way." That's terrible.
There's so Keenan out there. Dude.
Fulham has a sick slide shot. You tell me you're gonna block your
Dude, how do they have 5 seconds to get out of the way?
Knuckle.
I'll just say, my favorite part from Mighty Ducks, never saw before, the kids make a joke about blue balls when they're in school.
They
and they're
do.
like 10 years old laughing about blue balls.
These kids are
Never
4th
saw that
graders
before.
making
Blue balls?
Yeah,
The
they
teacher
make
says
blue balls.
blue
What's
balls,
that?
talk about Adams, and the little kids start cracking up when they're 10 years old.
That's absurd.
Exactly. So that made me think, how inappropriate could we make this movie to make it?
Like
It's very good. I still enjoy it, but how can we make this the greatest film of all
Peter
time?
Laviolette.
enjoy it.
Disagree to disagree, Paul.
We make it the greatest of all time
Disagree,
by
disagree.
having a role model that makes them do terrible stuff.
Yeah. So, but anyway, wrapping this segment up.
Frankly
Because-
speaking,
Yeah, frankly speaking,
I like it.
I do too. Mostly because it gives me the opportunity to just, talk about whatever the hell's on my convoluted brain.
Frank,
That's a lot of different things.
But anyway, wrapping it up. So it got me to the point where D2, we picked the U.S. Olympic team, best players in America to represent us globally. Also, Iceland is the biggest power. I'm sorry, no. No, I want to see birth certificates for these dirty Icelandians.
Hey, respect Reykjavik.
Hey, Iceland is an Iceland. I'll give you that. But
Could they
we're
be like-
taking the
could
kids.
they be
We
like-
were taking the kids that are the worst in Minnesota, the Twin Cities, Minneapolis area. They couldn't skate a lick, and half of them are gonna that team. Half of them are on the U.S. U12 team or whatever. I'm sorry, I call bullshit. They couldn't even start as teams.
Well, the thing I always wondered is they got the kid from Miami. How many ice rinks are there in Miami?
Hey man, kids got wheels.
Mendoza, who also played Benny the Jet in The Sandlot. Double dipping on classic youth sports.
Benny
That's how you
the
know-
Jet.
Exactly, Gib. That's how you know he's a speedster.
All right.
So it just kind of bothers me that way. Gordy made some homer picks. Granted, he got the money. He's just trying to get paid. Who isn't?
He won the good old games. Who gives a shit? They fucking won.
In spite of the fact that he picked a terrible roster.
Bad
Who
roster.
cares?
Real
There's
bad.
obviously good enough roster
Well,
to win it.
the ringer was
He's done
Tyler from South Central.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Sometimes it doesn't take the greats.
No, they were
They were
gonna,
the best player. They were the best. They want to elaborate on that again.
they were gonna lose. He picked a bad roster. They have to go make some late additions of people they found on the streets, which honestly, it's a fucking global game.
Hey, watch your mouth.
I'm sorry, I'm from New
You're
Jersey. I
bashing
don't have the best
America and
language.
you're bashing.
All I'm saying is sometimes it doesn't take the greatest players to do great things.
Okay, but when he can,
Our intramural team. I'm not going crazy here, but our intramural team here, we weren't a bunch of great players, dude. But we just were good together, and that's why we were good.
chemistry is important.
It
but at
doesn't
the same
take
time,
the most
when you can go out and
Pimped
scout,
out roster, man.
when you can go out and get Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier on the same team, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. You'd be irresponsible not to. And that's where I dropped that.
Yeah.
That's where I dropped the puck, if you will. Oh,
I like that. Right.
No
So,
pun intended.
He's always on the pun.
I think we
man.
can
love it.
expand on this to a whole podcast,
Which we will.
Exactly. But it's been fun.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
And that's frankly speaking. And that's going to do it for us here on this edition. Until next time, adios, hasta mañana, mahalo, whatever, however you say goodbye.
Au
Good
revoir.
night. Pour some.